Online at WBOK1230.com.
Good morning, good morning, good morning. This is Conversations with Richardson on WBOK 1230 AM. Streaming worldwide on WBOK1230.com. Welcome to the show. And, welcome to another great episode of Conversations with Richardson. And we have my very, very special guest, Miss LaToya Buckner, in studio with me. How are you?
I'm well. Thank you for having me.
How have you been?
Blessed.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
All right. So why don't you introduce yourself and tell my listening audience who you are?
Well, my name is LaToya Buckner. I am the mother of Marquise Buckner. My son, Mark, my oldest son, Mark, is here, and my daughter, Essence. And we are here to talk about mental health and family according to a passing of a loved one due to mental health.
Right. All right. So how did this whole thing start with you, man? Because I know your story personally because we've been knowing each other for some time now. So how did this whole journey with your son start with you?
It started very quickly and ended very quickly. I'm just going to go back into a 2-week span. I was out of town training for a job. And within that 2-week span, I would always have conversations and phone calls and texts with my children. But the texts between my son Marquise and I were somewhat odd and dark. Pushing forward, I was there in Dallas for 2 weeks. I got a phone call from the nurse at Later Lake Hospital in Baton Rouge. And she called and told me that my son was there in the psych ward department. And she says that they called the...
Come into your mic a little bit.
I'm sorry?
Come into your mic a little bit. Come forward to your mic a little bit. Yeah. There you go.
Okay.
All right. Continue.
So I got the phone call, and she says that my son was in the psych ward. And my son, I believe my daughter was there at the time, and my mother-in-law, and says that he was saying a lot of dark things, saying that, that he didn't want to live anymore, things like that. So I asked her, I said, do I need to leave? And she said, well, I can't really tell you that right now. It depends on how you feel. She said, but I can tell you this. Your son and your daughter told me not to call you. And I said, why? She said, because my mom is training for the job of her life, and we don't want her to be disturbed. She's really trying to focus and concentrate. And, in the back of my mind, I thought, I don't care. I'm glad you called me. I was in Dallas. I left immediately about 4 o'clock in the morning. And to be honest with you, I really don't remember stopping at the gas station. I don't remember going to the bathroom. I drove straight to the Later Lake Hospital in Baton Rouge. So when I got there, he was in the bed. The doctors told me he was in the room with a caregiver because he couldn't be left alone. And also the room was being recorded. So when I walked in, he was asleep. And about maybe an hour passed by, he woke up and he immediately turned and looked at me and he said, Mama, what are you doing here? I told him not to call you. And so I said, Marquise, that's not an option. I'm here now. He's like, but you had to leave your class. I said, it doesn't matter. I can always go back.
Right.
And so we started talking. They came in and brought him some food. He sat up. He seemed fine. We had a conversation. He ate his food. And then all of a sudden, I started to see his face go dark. And then I walked over to him and I said, son, you mind if I pray for you? And he said, yeah. So I started praying over him. I touched him and everything. And he said, thank you. And all of a sudden, his face went dark again. And he said, back up off me. So I backed up off of him. And then I went and sat down. And then all of a sudden, he started saying things like, I repent, I repent, I repent. So something must have been going on in his head. So the doctors just came and told me, the story of what happened at the house because my daughter was at the house at the time. I wasn't there.
Right.
So the story came from my daughter to the hospital. So, Essence, are you able to tell the part that you remember because you were actually there?
Yes, I can.
Introduce yourself before we continue.
Hi, my name is Essence Buckner, the
And come
daughter.
into your mic because
My name is Essence Buckner, the daughter of Latoya Buckner and the sister of Marquise Buckner. I received a call from my brother, Mark Buckner, and he didn't live in the state at the time, and he had just worried and was like, "Go see, check on Marquise," because he stayed with our grandmother on our dad's side at the time. And at the time, I was at practice, and I had just left practice, and it was late at night. I would say around 11 o'clock at the time. And I went to my grandmother's house, and Marquise was just acting a little strange. And I just was talking to him in a cool tone because I understand where he was coming from because I also suffer from mental health issues,
yes.
but not on the scale that he was at the time. And I just could tell by his body language that something was going on inside his head because I've had it from prior experience.
Mm-hmm.
And I just talked to him in a cool tone. And then once I realized that I wasn't getting anywhere with him, I called my coach at the time. She is a licensed therapist.
Mm-hmm.
And I told her to just come over since she was already, like, we had recently just got out of practice. She was already close in the vicinity. And I told her to come and just give him an observation, just a quick little something just to see if it was more than what I need to fix. So she came and she just was telling me, Essence, yes, this is a very serious case and he needs to be admitted. Do you want me to tell your mom? I said, no, she's not available at the time. She does have the job that she's been wanting for the longest. And we just see if we can handle it first before we contact her.
Now let's be clear. They weren't trying to hide this from you. They were looking out for their mom because they knew that the job that you had or wanted to get, I should say, was your dream job, right?
Right.
Right. But continue.
Correct. So my therapist, my coach, which is a therapist, she called her friends at the Oneida Lake and just got him admitted. He started writing me little notes that I couldn't understand. It was in scribbles. And after that, I just prayed for him. And then whatever was settled at the hospital, they called mom. And I found out that they called her, and I was really upset. But I'm glad that they did.
All right. Now, Latoya, I want to backtrack a little bit. Before everything went down with your son, what was his upbringing like?
So we are a military family.
Coming to your
Army,
mic? Yeah.
military army.
Mm-hmm.
We've lived in 5 different states, I believe. Marquise was a very, very smart and intelligent child, but very quiet. He would sit in the back of the room, and you would think he's not listening, and could hear the entire conversation, and then would give like a little in the background because
Right.
he heard you. He heard what you were
Right.
saying.
Right.
Now, as far as education is concerned, we came here in 2015, 2016, and he was a student at West Jeff.
Mhm.
He was a trombone player in the band at West Jeff, section leader at West Jeff.
Mhm.
After leaving West Jeff, he went on to Southern University, an engineering major. He wanted to be a petroleum engineer.
Mhm.
And he was also a trombone player in the #1 band in the country, argue with anybody but me,
You had
the
to throw
human
that in there.
jukebox.
Right. Okay.
So he was having the time of his life at Southern in the band. Absolutely enjoyed it. He went to the Rose Bowl parade. He even told me, he's like, Mama, the first time I got on the field and I looked up under the brim of my hat, he was like, this is what it feels like. This is what it feels like when they say you are in the human jukebox. They said, Mom, that was the best feeling of my life.
Yeah.
So he was happy. But this is the thing. When you see something on the outside of someone, you don't know what they're going on in the inside. And in the inside, he was struggling.
Right.
But he was so happy. He was intelligent. He was smart. It's just that small time, everything that was happy about him, I didn't see it anymore. It happened really, really quick.
And that was
me.
going to be my next question to you. we broke into the story about him doing what he did. But
Mhm.
when did you, as his mom, start noticing a change?
I started noticing a change when the over the summer into the fall semester.
And
So
what year was this?
this was 20, this was 21,
2022.
22, 22. So he got out of the band for a minute because he had so many credit hours. He was trying to graduate on time. He said, I'm going to fall back from the band because he was an engineer. He had like 18 credit hours or more. And he said he wanted to focus on his classes, but he still stayed connected to the band.
Right.
So a lot of times I've noticed people with mental issues, they have an outlet. Like for my daughter, dance is her outlet. The band was his outlet. Okay. So I asked him, I said, you kind of need that combo from class. And then when he goes to band, that's when he can breathe. When she goes to dance, that's when she can think. She doesn't have to think about other things. He said, Mama, I can't do the band right now. I really need to focus on graduating.
Mm-hmm.
So it was the conversations I had with him that I started noticing it. He would send us group text messages saying things that didn't make sense. I feel dark. I'm in a dark place. That's when I started noticing him more. And when he would ask me about God and going to heaven and how does it work and how much faith you have to have. And I was like, well, why are you asking me these things? But from our son Marquise, he's the type of person that will call you 3 a.m. and be like, hey, Mom, I'm thinking about getting dreadlocks. What you think about that?
Yeah.
So we were used to it. You know what I mean?
Right,
But for him to think about the spiritual realm of it, that's when I knew something was off. He wouldn't call me with the little quirky things. He would always ask about, black seed oil is going to save everybody.
Right.
You need to start drinking fennel tea. You know what I mean? He
Right.
was that type of person. But that part I didn't see anymore.
Yes.
That's when I noticed.
All right. The young man to the left of me, I want you to introduce yourself.
Yep. Good morning. My name is Mark Buckner II. I'm the son of Latoya Buckner and the older brother of Marquise and Essence Buckner.
So, being his brother, did you notice anything?
Well, I want to go back a bit during the summer of
course.
2022. My younger brother was the best man at my wedding. And before that, he attended my bachelor party. My good friends, my line brothers, and we all went to the Rolling Loud in Miami. We had a great time. And I didn't see any of these things when I was there with him.
I need to hang with y'all, man.
Sorry.
I need to
We
hang
had a great time. But I didn't see any of these things when we were together during that weekend in Miami, actually. It was about
Right.
4 days,
Right.
about Thursday night to the next Monday morning or something like that after the concert and festivities were over.
Right.
But during that time period, he was the same Marquise I've always known my entire life. No, his whole life as well. We shared a room for the vast majority of our life by the time I went to college. So we knew each other intimately. He knew me very intimately as well.
Right.
But
He's your brother.
Sorry?
He's your brother, right?
Of course.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
absolutely. So I would say that things changed after his accident that summer. I believe it was shortly after the bachelor party. He had got into a very bad accident where a drunk driver had rear-ended him. I believe he had a pretty serious injury after that. And I was following that very closely because I was trying to understand what was happening there from a brain standpoint. Of course, I'm not in the medical field at all. I don't work in that field. I work in finance.
Right.
But I wanted to understand a little bit about what was happening with him from a medical standpoint, and I kept asking more and more questions. Of course, he didn't have the answers, but I wanted to try to ask whoever could give me the answers from the hospital that.
Of course.
But they didn't really have the answers, or they didn't have the capabilities to actually do those tests, and maybe the tests weren't offered or what have you. But I believe there was something that was missed in the diagnosis there. Because shortly after that period, and in the months leading up to when he passed, that's when things began to change. And that's why I noticed it as well. And we'd have conversations that, of course, were just between brothers, that he would ask me some questions that he wouldn't ask usually. And his demeanor would change that I hadn't seen in the 21 years that I've known him up to that point. That would change. And I kind of kept coming back to that conversation and say, hey, how do you feel overall, since this accident? And he wouldn't actually be able to tell me exactly because he didn't know exactly what to say or how to put into words. But I could tell, of course, I think that was when the accident took place, that when things started to change a little bit for the worse. But we didn't all really notice it at the time. And then in September of that same year, I got married. My wife, Shannon, we've been married for 3 years now. He was the best man at our wedding.
Right.
And after that point, I didn't see any changes in him. He was very vibrant, still himself, very goofy. We had a great time the night before. We partied all night up until the wedding that next morning, and then partied the whole night again. And my plan was to go out and see them for Thanksgiving, maybe 2 months after that. It was September 4th, I believe, when we got married. My plan was to go out with the family for Thanksgiving. Well, obviously, we didn't get to that point. He passed away November 7th.
Right.
But in my mind, like I said, I'm not a medical professional, but I do know my brother. I do believe that after the accident, that something took place, maybe in his mind, or altered his brain chemistry to the point to where he was having visions or things were happening to where he no longer felt as though he was himself or he was seeing things, and that led to the point where he ultimately decided to take his life. And
Now, I wanna ask everyone in this room, did he ever mention anything to you? I know you said that he started asking questions, but did he ever like mention anything to any of you personally that made it a dead giveaway, or did he like throw out a hint?
Yes.
Okay,
yes,
you could take. Yeah, you could.
It was at the time when he was kind of driving around Baton Rouge at one point in time, and that's when I got the call from my aunt initially that he was having some troubles, but they couldn't reach out to him. And I always have the location saved between all of our family members,
Right,
so I know everyone is.
Right.
So I was able to see him kind of driving around, meandering across Baton Rouge, and I gave him a call, and he answered. He said, "I'm going back to our grandmother's house." And I told Essence, "Hey, meet Marquise at our grandmother's house. He'll
Right.
be there soon." He got there, but and then that's when that night took place, to where things kind of took a change for the worse. At that point in time, I stayed on the phone with them as long as I could that entire night, and Essence's coach came out and did what she had to do, and we got him admitted to the hospital. And of course, my mother was in Dallas with me. Well, not with me, but she was at the same time I was, trained to be a flight attendant as well. It was her dream job. And ultimately, things just kind of continued to spiral from there. We did the best we could to try to keep things from progressing to that point. But ultimately, there were conversations to where there wasn't really a way for us to keep him from doing what he planned to do. And I think ultimately, the day where he did leave, I know we will talk about this later, but he was able to obtain a firearm, even though he was blocked on his license, which I believe is a conversation that can be had as well during this program. But I definitely don't think that he would have been able to do it in that manner, but I am confident that he would have in a different manner, because once someone has made the decision to do that, there is not a way you can stop them.
Right. And suicide and mental health is a strange thing, because it seems like he wanted to help.
He did.
And
He
you know,
did.
most people, they're reluctant to go and get the help when they're approached about it. So it seemed like he wanted to get the help.
He did. Like I
Right.
said, I checked him into the institution. He was there for a week.
Mm-hmm.
He asked me to buy him a Bible. I bought him a Bible. I also bought him the it's like this little workbook that goes along with the Bible.
Mm-hmm.
It has questions in it. You draw pictures. It has Bible verses. I brought all of that to him in the facility. So he kept telling me things like, "Y'all gonna miss me." I'm like, "We always miss you, Marquise." He's like, "No, y'all really gonna miss me." I was like, "Where are you going?" He's like, "I can't take it anymore." And I told him, I said, "Marquise, taking your life is not an option for me."
Right.
So he ignored the fact. Okay, so then I believe it was Halloween. It was Halloween. And I always gave out candy by Halloween, right?
Yeah.
So he would mess with the kids. The kids would come up, he'd drop one piece, and he's like, "Okay, go on. Happy Halloween." And the kids looking like, "All you got is one piece?"
Yeah.
He's like, "Oh, you want more?
Uh-huh.
All right, here you go. I like that costume." And he played trombone. So he would sit out there while we trick-or-treating, and
Right.
he would play trombone, and my neighbors would come out, and our neighbors were like, "Yeah, that's my song. Play it. That's my song."
Uh-huh.
Like, he had his moments, right? But even then, when we got home, we put the candy away. He was like, "Oh, mama, they don't trick-or-treat like we do." Like,
Right.
all the kids would come to our house. I was the parent where everybody hung out at my house, all of my kids' friends. And he was like, "I didn't see as many come trick-or-treat this year. Guess I got to eat the rest of the candy."
Mm-hmm.
So he sat there and started eating the rest of the candy and talking. But later that night,
Right.
he woke up and he's like, "We got to go." I was like, "Where we got to go?" We got to go to Auntie Ingrid and Uncle Cliff. They're pastors. So I said, "Why?" He said, "Their house is safe." they have a cloud around their house. The house is covered. We have to go to their house. 4 o'clock in the morning, we packed everything up and went to their house.
All right, man. So, we got to go to our first break. This is going to end up being a good show after all, because it seems like you have a lot you have to talk about. And this is some great information that you're passing on to my listening audience. Nonetheless, man, this is Conversations with Ron Richardson on WBOK 1230 AM, streaming worldwide on WBOK1230.com and also on YouTube. We have Miss Latoya Buckner, my very good friend, and I got my main man who's about to come in on the next segment, the great Will Jemison, man, talking about mental health and suicide prevention. We'll be right back after this. Stay tuned. This is Conversations with Ron Richardson. Peace. Hoops, Heat, The Truth, On Demand. Ball Don't Lie is now live on all podcast platforms. Tap in, search WBOK Media, find Ball Don't Lie, and bring the fire with you wherever you go. Download, share, and leave that 5-star review, because the game doesn't stop when the show ends. Hey family, Ron Richardson here, host of Conversations with Ron Richardson. If you're looking for quality catering and barbecue, you need to contact my friends at Kuzan's Catering and Barbecue Team. Mr. Eddie Bunch and Kuzan's have been serving the West Bank since 2013 with their quality selection of barbecue and seafood. If you're looking for quality catering, be sure to contact Kuzan's Catering, located at 618 Westwood Drive in Marrero, or you can go to kuzansonline.com for more information for all the services that they offer, or call 504-233-4227. Catering done the right way just for you. That's Kuzan's, baby.
New Orleans, you want to know what we're talking about? Tune in every Saturday morning from 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. on WBOK for Conversations with Ron Richardson. The topics will always be hot and the conversation will be all the way live. Meet us there. We'll save you a seat. We can also talk about you and your business as a sponsor of Conversations with Ron Richardson. Contact Ron at 504-874-4584 or email him at richardsonronald024@gmail.com for more details.
WBOK online at WBOK1230.com.
It's the place where we can be open and honest about real life issues. You're listening to Conversations with Ron Richardson, live on WBOK and online at WBOK1230.com.
Welcome back. This is Conversations with Ron Richardson on WBOK 1230 AM, streaming worldwide on WBOK1230.com and also on YouTube. Remember, guys, if you want to catch me on the go, you can find me on Facebook. Just search for the Ron Richardson Facebook page or Ron Rich Facebook page. You can also find me on Instagram. Just search for Ronald_Richardson_Jr. on Instagram or Ronnie_Richardson_Jr. on Instagram. You can find out everything that I have going on in the world of radio, somewhat of my personal life, and as you guys know, I have a beloved pit bull at home named Queen who's patiently waiting on Daddy to come home, and she's probably listening to the show, trying to figure out what's going on. But I would like to welcome back Miss Latoya Buckner.
Hello, and welcome back.
Family, Ron Richardson, oh, wow. To tell you about new upcoming musical artist, Drew Who. We got to let this run first, all right? That was a mistake. We live radio, man, so, you never know what's going to happen. But nonetheless, man, we're back. And so you were talking about your son Marquise and different things that he was going through. And we left off on a note of you saying that you did start to recognize signs and he did start to tell you things. And you said it wasn't a dead giveaway, am I right?
It wasn't a dead giveaway until closer within that 2-week realm. At first, it was just small things. Like I said, you could see the demeanor in his face. He would ask weird questions about death and going to heaven. What kind of spirit would you have to have and things like that. I did not ignore it. I prayed a lot about it. I prayed a lot about it. I prayed with him. Marquise was the person, he would Google everything. Every dream he had, anything about your body, just like I said about the black seed oil. This guy bought the biggest bottle of black seed oil and passed it out to all of us. Because this is what's going to keep you living. You got to drink the black seed oil.
Right.
He ordered 12 boxes of fennel tea I thought, you know how you order things on Amazon
Right,
and make a
right,
mistake and
right.
press 12 instead of 1 or 2?
Right.
No, he meant that. So I'm not sure if these were the things that he was reading about. He was also into a lot of stones. He bought all of us stones. He had all of us wearing them. He kept pyramids in the back of his car. You know, he would sit them outside and say, Mama, they need to charge. Keep this stone is for certain things in your life. And you keep this stone. But then I noticed he had this black crystal, this black stone he kept in his pocket. And he said, this stone is supposed to help you reveal things in your life.
Can you repeat that? Because you went out.
He said, this black stone is to help you reveal things in your life. I said, why do you want to reveal things in your life? He said, it might be good, it might be bad, but we all need to find out what it is.
So it's the crystal that she's talking about.
Yeah.
It's called moissanite,
Okay.
and it is a powerful crystal. Marquise came to me one time because I was starting to get like information about crystals, and I told him it is not a crystal that you want to mess with because it will alter your brain chemistry and it does weird things to people. And he was like, well, that's what I need right now. That's what I need right now. I need something to change my life. Let me back up. Marquise always talked to me about mental health because we were both going through it. So anytime he had a question, he would come straight to me. He wouldn't go to nobody else because at the time I would say they wouldn't understand.
Right.
He would always ask me like, well, how do you cope with this? How do you cope with that? In September of 2022, I received my first letter to get an ESA, and it was a cat named Chanel. And he would always come to my apartment when we were at Southern. Where's the cat? Where the cat at? Where's she at? I need to see her. And I felt like she was also an outlet for him. But
And I
once,
want to touch on something. I don't mean to cut you off, but people don't realize how much an animal can help you with your own mental health. Because, like I said, I mentioned my pit bull Queen. Queen has been there for me on some of my roughest days. But continue.
yeah,
Yeah.
and she was just another outlet for him, I would say, at the time. And when he started getting into the crystals, I kind of watched him from a distance because the things that he was buying, I knew and understood them more than he did at the time. So when he was showing Mom the moissanite, it kind of scared me because that made me realize, okay, he's about to go down a dark path and nobody else is seeing it, only I understand. So once things started coming and falling into line, it made me realize it was the moissanite. And now I say to everyone, please stay away from moissanite, regardless if you're interested in crystals, do not do it.
You know, people don't realize how real that is. You know, when you manifest things and when you say certain things, a lot of these things come true. I made a post the other day on my Facebook page. I stated, you know, your manifestation can really become, you know, your reality if you let it. I always knew I wanted to work in radio, you know, but I didn't realize how powerful my words were. Here we are, you know, 30 something years later, and I'm actually working in radio. So, you know, you can speak positively and you can speak very negatively.
Right, because when he showed me the stones, he showed me a lot of 3 or 4 of them, excuse me, and what they were for. So I said, Marquise, well, Mama need one for money. Which one of these
Right.
is going to give your mama some money?
Right.
So he showed me the ones for luck. He showed me the ones for love. But when he showed me that black stone, and he kept it in his pocket. So all the time when he would wash clothes, I would find pieces of it. You know, I'm not sure if it was breaking down or what. And I said, he said, give it back to me, gave it back to me. I got to keep it in my pocket. So one day he came over to the house, and I look in the back of his window, and it looked like Egypt. He had about 13 different big stones and pyramids in his back window of his car. So I was like, what are you either conjuring or trying to keep off at this point? Because it's a lot of it. It's a lot of it. So when he started to, I would say, go into this dark realm, and he wanted to go to my sister-in-law and brother-in-law's house because they were pastors and he felt that their house was safe. He said there was a cloud, a covering over their house. The first thing my brother-in-law told me, he said, all of the stones and all of the pyramids, get rid of them. Because I had one on my table, on my dining room table. And I said, well, I kept it because it was a gift from Marquise. He said, no, get rid of all of them. And I threw all of them in the trash can. Absolutely. Every last one of them. And then even when he passed, I was still finding them in the house. And someone was like, no, you got to get rid of them. 3 days before he passed away, he was at the house in his room, and he woke me up in the middle of the night, and he said, Mama, go get a ladder and some duct tape. And I was like, what do I need it for? He's like, you have to cover the air vent. I was like, why? I can just turn the air down. Is it cold? And he said, no, I can hear the spirits breathing in the air condition.
Wow.
Now, normal people, I'm not going to say normal people, regular people would think,
Right.
that's crazy.
Right.
You know, I am not about to get up at 3 o'clock in the morning to put duct tape on an air conditioning vent for you. But I took it serious. He said, I can hear him. I can hear the spirits. I didn't hesitate. I got the ladder. I got the duct tape, closed it all off. I think, like Essen said, that was the stones bringing these things out. A lot of people don't. Well, here in Louisiana and New Orleans, we do believe in the spirits.
Of course.
We believe in everything that has a reason. As far as herbs are concerned, as far as seasonings, everything, right? But I can see all of that coming into play when it came to him. Everything he said, the clothes he wore, and from my son, like I said, he was a little quirky but funny. He would walk around in his robe, in his slides, drinking tea all day. Like we used to call him old man. His crab name at Southern is Paw Paw.
Wow.
Because he was like an old man, but a wise one, though. Everything he said, every time he thought about something, you were like, really? And then I had to Google it. I was like, he's right. You know what I mean? But the dark moments, they cannot go unnoticed. When you see that in a person, when you see that change in a person, when you see them not being fun anymore, not being vibrant, I tell everybody, especially when it comes to kids, because the children are taking their life more and more now. They become younger and younger. It's not in adults anymore. And we have this thing in the older age of saying, well, 49 and fabulous, that's different. We're talking about 50, 60, and 70 of people going, how do you have stress? You're only 16. You shouldn't be worried about things. You don't have bills at 20. You don't have 21. It just comes in a different form now.
And that's what I was gonna allude to next. When you and I came up, we weren't allowed to express ourselves.
Right.
We weren't allowed to show emotion. Basically what you just said. You're 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 years old and on, and basically, the parents think, hey, well, I'm feeding you, I'm clothing you, you don't have to work, you don't have any problems. And I love my family. A lot of times, when we were going through things, and I think you would agree with me, we couldn't express it because we were meant to be seen and not heard.
Right.
And that's the biggest thing with this generation, is that they're taking charge of their mental health and they're stepping up and saying, hey, something is wrong. Listen to me. Right.
And a lot of, I want to say, as far as educators are concerned, I'm not blaming the school system. I'm not blaming teachers, but children can have things going on mentally, spiritually, emotionally. And when I say that is, for example, I'm going to use suicide, mental health departments in colleges. It's because my children were in college at the time. They give you a pamphlet and they say, call this number, right? In my opinion, when that happens, you should take that student by the hand and take them where they need to go.
I think they definitely need a more aggressive approach.
Will speak up.
I think they definitely need a more aggressive approach.
Still can't hear you.
With the college students, like you were saying, your son was a student at Southern. A good friend of mine, son was a football player in LSU, Kyron. I served in the Army with his daddy, Kenny. And it was
Coming to your microphone, man, could you?
It was a similar thing with them.
There you go, that's better.
it's just not the outlets in college for the kids, and they dealing with. I think they dealing with more stress than what we had at that age. They out living on their own, and just the social climate, the stuff they see on social media and stuff like that. I think that mental health aspect needs to be more prevalent, not just for the kids, for everybody. You read my bio. I kind of went through a similar situation, and those outlets wasn't really there for me. I had to go aggressively search them out. You know, they give you the 24 soldiers a day, 22 soldiers a day commit suicide, and they give you the 1-800 numbers, but it's not an aggressive approach. You know, people going with these things, like you say, grab them by the hand and pull them in and make them get these avenues. So.
And then too, I pretty much tell this or say this every week on my show. I had to sit back and get myself together. And Latoya, you don't know this, but like last year, I was sitting at another radio station at the time, and I was like, yo, something is wrong. Because I lost my grandmother going on 9 years ago. I tell this story every week on the show. And I never really had time to grieve because I went from going through the process of burying my grandmother, and then after everything was over, I'm immediately thrust in going back to work in radio. And, media and television and radio, we nonstop. And literally 7-8 years later, I was like, something is wrong. And I never really had that time to grieve. And, Will, you were in the military. There's never really anybody to say, hey, all right, well, this is what happens after you're out of the military.
It's in the military, suck it up.
Right.
Stop being weak. You don't need a doctor. Drink water. Take a Motrin. So they don't give you those. And me, like with my deal, I wasn't really reaching out like Marquise was. My thing was comedy. So I'm on Facebook. I'm flaming everybody. That was my.
That's what you do.
That was what. I'm mad. Somebody about to get it. So that was kind of my outlet. But I just had to redirect it and figure out what my triggers was and what kind of set me off, and I jump ahead of it now. Right. When I know, like, it's the holiday time. You was telling me your son, it was November, I believe. November 7th. And it was the same situation with me. November is coming close to the holidays. I will go through the holidays, and as a police officer, that's when we worked. Majority of our suicides, it was between that October to New Year's time frame. So it, like, right now is a really hard time for a lot of people. They're trying to figure out bills. They're trying to figure out this, that, holidays.
Right.
But, like, make sure you're grabbing your people and really talking to them. We know our people, pull them close. And
it's like we always say, man, check on your people.
Check on your people.
Right.
And then when you see something is wrong, it's like this. There's a company called NAMI, NAMI. I became familiar with this organization from one of my coworkers. Come to find out, her son committed suicide right after mine. And with this organization, they provide everything for you. They got the therapists, they have the people to talk to, they have facilities, they have money. I did a walk with them to raise money. And just by telling somebody, here's a 1-800 number, you need to call somebody, go pick them up. You know what? I'm going to take you to the facility. I'm going to be there with you.
Yeah, be a group.
I'm going to check in with you. I'm going to go come see you. You have to do that just by telling somebody, oh, you need to go see somebody get help. That means nothing. Right. And to tell someone that what they're feeling is not real, that's the worst thing.
Right.
You're going to be all right. Just go on and pray about it.
And, to touch on me and Will started co-hosting with me, I want to say it's been
since Dolphin Radio. It was Dolphin Radio.
It was about 3 years ago. And, him and I, we immediately, we made that connection. And, I just told him, I said, man, this doesn't just have to be radio, we checking in on each other at least, I want to say, twice a week.
Yeah.
Just to say, hey, bro, what's going on? How you doing? And as long as he's good, then I'm good. Right. And he called me the other day. He said, man, you all right? And it was just out of the blue. So that does, help men as well as, women get them through what they're going through.
Because my coworker and I, we we text each other, we call each other. And sometimes when I'm feeling a certain way, I'm like, let me check on her because I guarantee you she's feeling the same exact way. And she'll text
Right.
me, she's like, girl, I was just about to call you.
Right.
Because she was feeling some type of way as well.
Right.
And when it comes to like the holidays, and well, let me go back to this.
Yeah.
Every year for my son's birthday and his the anniversary of his passing, we all get together. My son comes from Texas. He flies in. We go to breakfast. We go to the graveyard. Marquise and I love Chardonnay. So we bring Chardonnay to the graveyard. We all have a glass. We play his favorite song, right, Essence? His favorite song is Boogie Nights. Hey, a musician. I don't question
It is what it is. Okay, okay.
So we do all of this at the gravesite. But this year, since we were going to come here, I was like, you know what? We'll make the radio show a dedication to him. But my body said, no, you're not. I went to work that day. I woke up that morning with a slight headache, but I have migraines, so it was nothing new, right? I get to work, going about my day, got my coffee, everything. My oldest son texts me. He said, you picking me up from the airport? I'm like, picking you up from the airport for what? And he was like, I never miss this date. I never miss out this event. And I was like, well, I thought that, the radio show was going to be our little date. And he's like, no.
Yeah.
We still get
No.
He's like, no.
Flight was already purchased months ago.
Right.
keep them on it, brother.
Yeah, keep it. So I was like, well, I'm going Sunday. You can go ahead on and go. And Essence was going to be in Baton Rouge on Saturday. So we had all planned to go at different times, right? My body, my spirit, Marquise, and God said, no, you're not. When I tell you my entire body shut down, I had the worst migraine of my life that day. My job had to call the paramedics. I blacked out at work. I couldn't see, and I had shallow breathing. They really thought I had a stroke, right? Went to the hospital. Both of them were in town, came to the hospital. This happened on a Friday. That Monday, when I went back to work, I was having a conversation with my coworker, and she said, girl, I was so worried about you. When I saw you pass out, you got dark. She said, it was just a bad scene. I'm so glad you're back at work. And so I said, well, I have one question, because she watched the entire thing go down in front of her. I said, what time did this happen? She said between 11 and 1. That was the exact time my son passed. During that window. My boss said, from now on, you will always take off November 7th. I don't care what you have to do. Do not come here. I thought I could bypass it. I was trying to, how you're trying to get a regular schedule in your life.
A routine.
Right? A routine.
Right.
No. Sometimes you have to listen to your body.
You're right about that.
You have to listen to what's going on. Don't ignore what's being told to you in your head. I thought I could bypass it and do it my way. My body was like, no, you're not. You're going to take this day off forever.
Right.
If nothing else, a mental day for you. There's this thing on Instagram where they're showing, I have 1,400 PTO and sick days. And then somebody responds at the bottom where I have 3, and I'm trying to figure out how to take off for the rest of the week. You have to take this time for yourself. If you are feeling overwhelmed at school, if you are feeling overwhelmed at work, take the time. You can't get that back. I took 2 weeks off to be with my son before he passed, and I don't regret it one bit. I watched him. I talked to him. I ate with him. I went to the facilities with him. If I had not done that, that is the only reason why I can sleep, because I have no regret.
Right.
I don't feel like I didn't do anything.
Right. Prior to us even or you even coming to my radio show, we never talked about it. We have a lot of mutual friends.
Right.
And I heard about it, and I was like, man, I really want to talk to her about it. And I didn't know at the time that this was going to be the situation where you would come down to my radio show, but I'm glad you're here.
It was in the middle of the night. Remember, I text you.
Actually, you know what? I was
Yeah.
on my way to Zulu Ball.
Right. And I
And-
saw
yeah.
it. You did this thing and you said, I have openings for such and such time. I'm filling up real quick.
Right.
Anybody who wants to be on the show, you need to get it in.
Mm.
And something said, this is your time.
Right.
Because at first, I'm not going to lie to y'all, the only way I could cope with it was to pretend that he was still at school.
Mm-hmm.
No joke.
Right.
He was still at school.
Does talking about it help you?
It does, but I have unfinished business with it.
All right, so hold that thought. We're going to pick up right where we left off, all right? Conversations with Ron Richardson on WBOK 1230 AM, streaming worldwide on WBOK1230.com. LaToya, tell the people where they can get in contact with you if they just looking for somebody to talk to, social media handles or whatever.
Yes, you can find me on Instagram at
Buttercup1411.
or feel free to email me at latoya.buckner1@gmail.com.
All right, man. This is Conversations with Ron Richardson. We'll be right back after this. If you want to drop us a line, give us a call. 504-582-9422. 504-582-9422. Talking about suicide prevention right here on Conversations with Ron Richardson. We'll be right back after this. Stay tuned.
Hey everybody, it's Graylin Bryant Banks.
And Kimber White Dupree.
From the front porch, y'all. You know how we do every Monday. It's Moving Monday.
And Tuesday is Trivia Tuesday.
And y'all know we have nothing but bad cheering coming through here on Wednesday.
But stick with us. On Thursday, we travel.
That's right. And Friday's Free Your Mind Friday, so get your brass up.
Something on your mind? Want to get it off your chest?
Holla at your people. WBOK 1230 AM, the station you listen to
all day long.
Ron Richardson here. If you are like me, that means you love the feeling of getting a fresh haircut and shave. If you do, then you should check out my friends Eddie and Dana Bunch at First Impressions Barber and Beauty Salon, specializing in hairstyles for men, women, and children. If you want to make a good first impression, you should check out First Impressions Barber and Beauty Salon, located at 618 Westwood Drive in Marrero, or call 504-341-6777. Remember, it's never too late to make that first impression at First Impressions Barber and Beauty Salon.
New Orleans, you want to know what we're talking about? Tune in every Saturday morning from 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. on WBOK for Conversations with Ron Richardson. The topics will always be hot and the conversation will be all the way live. Meet us there. We'll save you a seat. We can also talk about you and your business as a sponsor of Conversations with Ron Richardson. Contact Ron at 504-874-4584 or email him at richardsonronald024@gmail.com for more details.
WBOK. Better pay attention. Powered by Cox Business.
Hi, this is Troy Henry, one of the owners of WBOK and Equity Media. And on behalf of myself, my family, and my company, Henry Consulting, we'd like to wish you a very, very, very happy holiday.
Thanks for listening to Conversations with Ron Richardson, live on WBOK, and listen online at WBOK1230.com. Now, back to Ron.
Welcome back. This is Conversations with Ron Richardson on WBOK 1230 AM, streaming worldwide on WBOK1230.com and also on YouTube. Remember, guys, if you want to catch me on the go, you can find me on Facebook. Just search for the Ron Richardson or Ron Rich Facebook page. You can also find me on Instagram. Just search for Ronald_Richardson_Jr. on Instagram. I also have a secondary Facebook page, Ronnie_Richardson_Jr. A secondary Instagram page. I apologize. Secondary Instagram page, Ronnie_Richardson_Jr. on Instagram. Big Will, the Great. Tell the people where they can find you, man.
Facebook, Willis Shooter Jemison,
Mm-hmm.
and Instagram, Jemison_survival. I just had one. You gotta follow.
Yeah. You everywhere, huh? Yeah, all right. So we had Miss LaToya Buckner and her two children in WBOK studios. We're talking about suicide prevention. And I just wanted to pass along a number to y'all out there in listening land. If you need help or you know somebody who needs somebody to talk to concerning mental health, or if they're looking to harm themselves, you can just dial 988 to get the help that you need or any resources that you need. LaToya, continue with the last thought before we went to break.
So, when it comes to someone being in a mental institution, if you have been released or at any time been in a facility, they flag you.
Yep.
And when it comes to the flag, it is there as a prevention. It's supposed to be there as a stopping point. If you decided to buy a firearm or do anything, they're supposed to. In my opinion, you're not supposed to get one.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
I was told by the police department there's a video, and the camera is facing the register and the screen of when my son's flag populated. They gave him the driver's license, and as soon as he swiped it, his flag populated. Biggest day. They ignored that because my son had cash. So
now, when you say flag, it means
it's just like they put you on the flag for no fly. As far as
gotcha.
Same thing.
Gotcha.
It comes up as soon as you swipe their ID. I would like to know legally what is supposed to happen when you sell a person who has a mental flag. They're not supposed to be able to buy a firearm.
I'm going to throw that question over to Will. Maybe you can elaborate on that a little bit and give us a correct answer if possible.
Like you say, he had cash.
Coming to your mic.
Like you say, he had cash, so it may have been somebody money hungry trying to get the sale. It's so many loopholes to find. So I don't necessarily think that would have prevented anything. Like with me.
So there are there rules and regulations?
I mean, if somebody's flagged, they shouldn't. Me as a decent human being, I know if I see something pop up on somebody, I'm not gonna sell it to them. That should have just been a decent human and somebody, but everybody not decent human beings. So some people, it's the money. But yeah, if they had an early warning, they shouldn't have sold a gun. I wouldn't have sold a gun to anybody.
So legally, what can I do about that? Like
I would have my attorney try to. They would have to subpoena that place for that video.
So they would have to go after the place who sold the firearm. That's what you're saying?
Yeah, I would subpoena that place that sold it. It should be a record if they sold that gun with that flag. They're gonna have a control number assigned to that sale. So it would just take some legwork, but it's documented. It's nothing that would be hard to find.
So basically, every time somebody purchases a firearm,
yeah, you do
it's documented
with the ATF,
right?
And they issue a number to the sale and all that kind of stuff. So I'm gonna give you my number. I'll do some legwork. I know a lot of people in that industry, so it's something we could probably get figured out.
Because I don't want this to happen to someone else.
Right.
Although it did not stop my child, like my son said, he could have found another avenue, and he probably would have because that's something he wanted to do, and he was okay with doing. But as far as someone else is concerned, no, it's a no for me. It has to be stopped just because you wanted to make a sale. So, in my opinion, I was told that the sale was like $700 and something, right? My son's life to you was $728. That's the way I see it. And I can't let that go. That's the part I can't let go. Him passing was different. He told me he was going to do it. I tried to talk him out of it. But because someone helped it happen, that's the part that I'm most upset about.
Well, this is why, we have shows like this, because I want to shed light on different things and, different issues that otherwise don't get. Because there's so much out there that we don't talk about it. And mental health, especially in the Black community, is something that's not talked about, a lot at all. Back then when you and I were growing up, we just called people crazy. Right. But we never really dove into what their issue was. And, when you think back on it, it's like, wow, compared to today, it's like, that's what they were going through
Because we're
time.
walking around here functioning.
Right.
You know, it's like they say functioning alcoholics. We're walking around here functioning mentally ill people.
And let's be
we
real.
going to work.
Right. That's what we were taught to do. You know, you were taught to, you know, hey, look, my grandmother passed. You know, like I said in my last couple of segments, my grandmother passed. I took a week off and she's laid to rest, and I had to go back to doing what I was doing, not realizing that this would affect me several years later.
Exactly.
You know? So what's next for you, man?
What's next for me? I am on the search for a good therapist. I've had a couple, and this is what stopped me from going. The first thing the therapist would say to me is, "I'm so sorry for your loss. I can't imagine what you're going through." I shut down after that. So I know I'm
opening. Yeah.
Exactly. So I'm looking for a unicorn. I need a therapist who has lost their child due to mental illness.
Have you tried any of like the social groups? I know they have the groups that meet and stuff.
I do the social groups, and that's what's helping me. Like I said, NAMI, everybody, their children have passed due to mental illness. But I need someone who I can actually sit in front of and they cry with me because they actually have done it. Sign the death certificate. You know what I'm saying? I need that.
So you know what? I'm going to just throw this out there. If anybody knows or has any information on that, please contact me, Richardson Ronald 024 at gmail.com. Richardson Ronald 024 at gmail.com. And I will pass that information along to you if I receive anything.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Any last words of encouragement or anything you have to anybody who's going through anything before we close?
Pay attention to the signs. Talk to your family. Spend as much time with your family as possible. And take care of yourself.
All right, man. This has been Conversations with Ron Richardson on WBOK 1230 AM. Streaming worldwide on WBOK1230.com. Miss Buckner, my girl LaToya, all the best to you. I love you, all right?
Thank you, friend. Love you.
All right. See you guys next week, same time, same place, same bad channel. Conversations with Ron Richardson. I love you, New Orleans. And remember, healing and recovery start with you. See you next week. Peace.